Welcome back to Healthy Bites. We all love to celebrate birthday parties, and there's always something special that the birthday child likes. So what I'm going to show you today is a recipe for fairy cakes. They're literally that. They look like beautiful little butterflies. They're little cupcakes with lots of decorations and jam in the middle. But most importantly, I make this with atta. I don't use any maida at all, and I like to use jaggery as a sweetener. So let me show you how to make my version of fairy cakes. The ingredients are atta, powdered sugar, butter, curds, any kind of jam, this is just mixed fruit, jaggery powdered, baking soda, orange peel, and these are just some colorful decorations. So it's a very simple recipe to make. Before you start making it, switch on your oven at 180 degrees and let it preheat so it's nice and hot by the time the cakes go in. And all I've done is lined a muffin tin or a cupcake tin with these little colorful things. Remember that we're making it for someone's special day, so let it look nice. So the first step is to put baking powder into the curds and just mix it around and it'll start bubbling. Now if it doesn't bubble, then it's not going to rise in the oven. So there's a problem with your baking soda, don't go ahead with it. You're going to be heartbroken if your recipe doesn't work. The first step is to cream the butter and the jaggery. Now the reason I like to use jaggery is because it is more healthier. It's significantly less refined than sugar and therefore much better for us. And you know, the cake will taste a little different. That's all right, we'll get used to it. What is more important for us? Is our health more important, or is the fact that these things taste the same way more important? I've got all my cousins used to the fact that I now use jaggery in my cakes. And so for example, when I'm making a light colored cake, I use a lighter colored jaggery. And when I'm making a chocolate cake, I love to use my dark brown jaggery. So once this is nicely mixed together, I'm going to use orange peel for the flavoring. So put in some orange peel, maybe not as much, maybe a little less. And so instead of using vanilla essence, which is again processed, try and use more natural flavorings. Put in fruits, put in nuts, use all of that as a flavoring here. So this is now ready for the next step. I'm going to add this in. It has beautifully bubbled up, which means my cakes will rise. So put this in. And sometimes when I'm making a fruit cake, I would add fruit juice at this point. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add water. I want the orange peel to sing in this recipe. I never use maida in any of my cakes or any of my baking anymore. Maida is processed and refined. Let's use atta instead. Yes, your cakes will be a little denser. They're not going to make a significant difference to the taste, to the texture. You just need to learn how to work with it. There are some recipes where I have to add a little bit more liquid to what the original recipe is. So I just do that. And you get a much healthier cake. So I'm just going to keep mixing this around, and if it needs a little bit more liquid, I'll add that. And right towards the end, I'm going to add a little bit more baking soda. It'll help fluff it up. So a little bit more baking soda, a little bit more water. When I make a coffee cake, I add coffee decoction. Tea is a really weak flavoring for a cake, so don't use tea, but then use fruit juices, use natural food colorings. I love to use strawberries or beetroot when I'm making a red velvet cake. If I want to make a blue cake for my cousins, well then there's blueberry that goes in. It's tin blueberry, but I don't mind that because it's still a natural flavoring for it. Don't use food colors in your cake. They're not healthy. There is nothing remotely natural about it. Okay. So this is the cake batter done. It needs to, when you lift it up, it needs to fall off the spoon as easily as that. Just stir it around a few more times and then it's ready to go into your cupcake cases. So fill up your cupcake cases about maybe half to 3/4 of the way, not anything more than that because then they'll start overflowing and you won't get that nice round shape. This doesn't take long at all. It's taken a little less than 10 minutes just to make it, and then it'll go into the oven for 20 minutes. It's easy to make. And I love to get all the children to come in to help decorate it. They feel like they've personally done something, and our job has also been cut in half. And it's so much simpler than actually going out to a bakery and buying a cake where you're not sure if it is as fresh as you would like it to be. You don't know when it has been made, you don't know what has gone into it. and it is really creamy. So I'm going to show you how to make a cream topping for it, which has butter and powdered sugar, but those are the only two ingredients in it. So just put it in, tap it down so it evens out, and put it in the oven for about 20 minutes. So the cakes have had about 25 minutes in the oven, and we'll check it. So you'll know cake is done when you stick a knife through it and it comes out clean. So your cakes are done. Let them cool, because what we're going to do is cut into the middle of them and then add in the jam. So in the meantime, we can make our icing. So I've got nice soft butter here, and I am going to make an exception and use sugar at this point. I've tried different substitutes, but I found that for this icing, for a special day, it's well worth it. So just add a little bit of icing sugar at a time. Mix it for a couple of minutes. So the cakes have cooled down, buttercream is ready, jam is ready, and our decorations are done. So let's get down to making it look beautiful. So take a knife, and the idea is to core out the cake. And I love to do this with all my different cousins at home because it makes them feel so involved. Doesn't matter what the cake looks like at the end, it's the process. So remove it like that and carefully remove the center and keep it aside on one plate. And do the same for all of them. So once you've got all these little bits of cake, it's time to fill in what is left. And you're going to fill it in with jam. I'm just using mixed fruit jam here, but you can use whatever you like. If you have jam made at home, that's even better. So fill it up to the top with jam. And it's important to do this when the cake is not too hot, because otherwise everything will melt and it'll become one soggy mess, and that's not nice. Last bit of jam. And then it's time to look at these little pieces. So what you do is just cut them carefully in half. Okay. Take your icing, push it out all around. Looks beautiful like that. At the end of the day, nobody's going to know that there's jam inside of it. So do the same for all of them. So the icing is put. Let's make the wings for the butterflies. So put the cake on either end of this and put your colorful beads in the middle. And that's it, your fairy cakes are done. So this is my recipe of fairy cakes, a dish that I love to make for any special occasion. It's a wonderful birthday cake, it's something different, and it's something that we all love. It's a brilliant way of getting your children involved in the making of this cake. It's great fun and it's healthy too.